Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Well, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody has some kind of plan to do something for Thanksgiving. And also, it's the beginning of that Black Friday shit there that everybody goes through every year. Okay. Believe it or not, it's a lot tamer nowadays since it first started. When it first started, I mean, it was a fucking boxing match in a lot of places. I mean, people were just killing each other to get those bargains. But they learned from that after a time, and then they decided that they needed to do something about it to make sure that people aren't, trying to kill each other. So people started doing these online Black Friday deals. And that's where people go, a lot of people go now. Instead of actually to the stores, you can get better deals on Black Friday online than you can in the stores. So that's a good way to keep people from clawing each other and ripping off their heads and, the things that were going on there, the police would have to be there. So anyway, but yeah, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. And I'm going to be spending that with some family and friends and stuff. I guess the weather is supposed to snow way up north in Maine, I guess a little bit. But I think down here tomorrow it's probably going to be mostly rain, I think, just showers off and on, but nothing too major. So I've been feeding squirrels still, and they've been coming up to the window there. I haven't got the bird feeder yet because it hasn't been on my list of things to buy. But as soon as I get a hankering there to go down there and look for one, I'll find one eventually. What I'd like to do is, if I get one, I'd like to be able to put it up on the railing at around the deck, and put it there so it doesn't get knocked over, when they're trying to get food out of it. So I need some way of mounting that on there so it doesn't fall. But yeah, I'm gonna get one. It was a good idea that you had brought up there, Allison, about that. So I'm just gonna I'll wait until I get a lot of things done, and then I'll go look for one. Maybe I'll find something that I can use. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning on January the 5th, I believe, is the date that she's cutting and running. Now, she gave her reasons as to why she's leaving. Apparently, her and Trump had this big falling out, okay, and he doesn't like her anymore. He ain't going to support her anymore because she's been pushing to have the Epstein files released, because she says Trump ran on transparency, and God damn it, we got to have it. Okay, we're going to have our transparency. And yeah, I mean, look, I hate to defend this fucking woman, okay, because I don't like her any more than Trump does, okay? She's a nut. Remember the Jewish space lasers and all that shit? How anybody could put up with her up to this point is beyond me. I'll never understand that, because everybody now despises her, and I'm like, hey, I was ahead of the curve, you guys, because I despised her way, way back. This woman is nothing. She's an idiot. Now, all of a sudden, she sounds logical, and she's agreeing with you. Okay, now you want to fucking put her up there as the person we need to follow to get rid of Trump. No. No, we don't need Marjorie Taylor Greene to tell us that. We knew all along Trump was shit. Okay? We knew all along. We didn't need to have her tell us that. Besides, she ain't much different than Trump. Think about all the things she supported him on. All the stuff that he's doing now, she was behind him 100%. Okay? Think about that. Now all of a sudden she don't like him? Yeah. She don't like him because, like I said, if there's one thing that's going to bring both the Democrats and the Republicans to the fucking table to agree on, it's pedophilia. Nobody likes it, and hey, she doesn't like it, and she wants Trump to clear himself, but he ain't interested in that because that means he's going to have to reveal all the fucking shit that he did with Epstein. That means the emails and whatever pictures are floating around out there that you know that they haven't found, you know, all kinds of stuff. Plus, he's got to shut up all the victims that, you know, are telling people that Trump did this to them and that. Hey, it's a big fucking mess, and it's not something that's going to be mopped up in 2-3 days. Okay, right as I'm talking to you now, I can guarantee you they're going through stuff in Washington. Redacting. They're going to run out of black paint, okay? It's going to look like midnight on the ocean inside the White House, okay? So, yeah, they're busy trying to do damage control. Now, knowing this, don't you think the people doing this are themselves aware that Trump, his name is in everything, and that they might have read stuff that it's like, what? But now they're in charge of covering it. So that means these people, there's still going to be people who've seen the truth, but they're, you know, everyone's going to expect them to keep their mouth shut about it. You see what I'm saying? You can't read something and forget it unless you've got a 2-second memory. These people have to go through and read everything to know what to redact, unless they just plan on shredding it, which they can't legally destroy evidence. But they're going to have to go through everything. That means they have to read it. They're going to have a bunch of people sitting at a table going through every fucking email between those two, and they're going to have to read it all. That means people are going to talk. Those that read it, they're going to say stuff. You can't depend on everybody keeping their mouth shut. And those people redacting are going to feel like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking criminal. We can't, you know, they're going to know the truth. You see? So, yeah, you can't just have one person go through everything. They're going to have a team of people going through all these things. There's a lot of stuff to go over. And they got to do it in 30 days because that shit has to be out, released in 30 days. So they got a lot of people going through things. That means there's going to be a lot of people that are going to know the truth. And those are the people we want to get, because we're not going to see it. Whatever gets released to us, it's going to be heavily redacted, if not completely obscured. You're not going to be able to read much of it. So all that's going to be left are those people who read through it to know what to mark over and stuff like that. They're going to remember what was there. And what's Trump going to do? Assassinate every one of them after they've done it? I mean, come on. If he's that desperate to hide his name, that is on the table. You know, that option is on the fucking table here. So don't think that I'm being overzealous here by saying, oh, he's going to, you know. No. If he's as deep into this thing as I suspect he is, I would expect that heads are going to roll or even get cut off to keep their mouth shut. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know what he said to her to make her do a fucking 180. Okay, I don't know what he said to her, but it had to be so bad that she felt like, I got to get out of here. She probably felt her life was being threatened by this man. He could have said something nasty to her or threatened her in some fucking way, that if you don't resign, that's it, you're finished. He says he's going to come out, he's going to dump a ton of money to primary her. Okay? Well, some people are saying, well, she's made 20 some odd $1 million since she became a congresswoman, and what has she got to lose, really? I mean, she's gonna retire or leave a millionaire. Okay? Some people are saying she's gonna retire now but come back and run for the Senate. or maybe even the presidency, but I would doubt the presidency is going to be something she'll win or even get near, because you know how Republicans are about women running, right? So, but yeah, she's going to she's probably going to be back, but she won't come back until Trump is gone. Okay, so she's going to bide her time, but I don't think we've seen the last of that mouth. She'll be back. So then Alex Jones has come out a couple days ago and saying, "Oh, I don't know if I want to keep, supporting Trump." He's kind of following Marge's, attitude. And I'm thinking, Alex Jones, you're so full of shit. All of a sudden now it's become an issue to support Trump with him. But he was okay with Trump doing all these other things that drove people nuts in this country. All these other things that have hurt people's lives, and their jobs and stuff. He was standing, and now all of a sudden, he finally crossed the line. Really? ICE wasn't crossing the line with Trump, or with you, and Medicare and all the Doge cuts and all the cuts to the government, none of that was crossing the line with you. But now all of a sudden, this Epstein thing, this crossing the line. See what I mean about how the pedophilia, it brings people together. All the boats will sail in the same direction. Trump picked the worst crime to try to cover up, and I don't think he's, he may be aware of the fact that this country will fucking, if they find out that he was, molesting underage kids, hey, he probably realizes that that's going to be the end of his shit. But he's good for stonewalling and dragging things out to buy time. But, we all know that tactic. But yeah, Alex Jones. The guy, why does anybody still watch him? His credibility is shot beyond belief. Okay? Nothing he says most of the time is true. The rest of it is theory, conspiracy theories, that's it. And he ain't been right about one fucking thing. Okay? And he's very afraid to make a stand on anything. Okay? And up to now, he's been just riding Trump's wave, trying to get back into people's good graces after, the debacle that he went through there with the Sandy Hook stuff and all that. But, yeah, he's been riding behind on Trump's coattails, basically, just to appease MAGA viewers. But MAGA these days is falling apart because I guess a lot of people in Congress are threatening to resign. A lot of them are on the right. A lot of these people are, and I'm going to read this here to you so you can understand what I'm talking about here. All right, this article here from Daily Dose of Democracy. It says, Mike Johnson get ominous news after Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation. Punchbowl News dropped a bomb this morning, claiming that Marjorie Taylor Greene's shocking resignation announcement was not the end, but rather the beginning of an exodus from Congress by fed-up Republican members. One unnamed GOP representative explained, quote, "This entire White House team has treated all members like garbage. All. The arrogance of this White House is off-putting to members who are run roughshod and threatened. More resignations are coming. It's a finder box. Morale has never been lower. Mike Johnson will be stripped of his gavel, and they will lose the majority before this term is out," unquote. And also cue the world's tiniest caterwauling violin for the most obsequious caucus in modern American history. Yeah, so, Marjorie Taylor Greene is just one of many people that, look, there's talk that Trump wants to get rid of Kash Patel. Now, that doesn't surprise me either, okay? let me read that one here. All right. Trump considering firing Kash Patel. Imagine being so bad at your job that Donald Trump notices. Donald Trump is reportedly considering firing FBI Director Patel, who has managed to continually be one of the most useless members of this administration. Patel has been topping headlines recently by misusing taxpayer funds to jet across the world on a private FBI plane and use specialized FBI agents as his girlfriend's private security detail, something a former FBI agent said is, quote, indicative of his lack of leadership experience, judgment, and humility, unquote. Something he and J.D. Vance has in common, taking trips around the world and making taxpayers pay for it. Patel has taken almost a dozen personal trips since becoming FBI director in February. For reference, former FBI Director Robert Mueller only took 10 personal flights in a 4-year period. His selfishness, combined with his incompetence, tweeting updates to cases that are unverified, tweeting about confidential active cases at all, seemed to have finally caught Trump's attention. So, yeah, I mean, but look, hey, we were saying right from the start that guy was not qualified for the job that Trump put him in there. He was somebody that Trump thought he could control or muscle around. But the guy is so incompetent that he was eventually going to trip everything up, and Trump would have no choice but to get rid of him. So I'm not saying he's getting rid of him, but he's saying he's considering it, which may be just a warning shot to Patel, you better clean up your act. You know, but who knows? You know, he might get rid of him anyway, even with the warning. So now get a load of this. This is something here you got to hear. Mother of Caroline Leavitt's nephew has been arrested by ICE. Dun, dun, dun. ICE agents arrested a woman with a connection to White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt just days before Thanksgiving. Bruna Ferreira, I guess, I don't know, who has an 11-year-old son with Caroline's brother Michael Leavitt, was arrested by ICE on November the 12th. So this happened, you know, many days ago. Bruna is a DACA recipient and is in the process of obtaining legal residency, but was abruptly arrested while on her way back to pick up her son from school, despite the fact that Trump's attempts to end DACA were all blocked by the Supreme Court. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said she had a previous arrest for battery, but her attorney disputed that, saying Bruna has no criminal record and charged the DHS with showing proof. Caroline Leavitt's cruelty is supporting the administration ripping away her nephew's mother is unfathomable, but I guess I should have expected it given that she's been defending the Trump administration's destruction of families all over the country. The hypocrisy of these people and their supporters never fails to astound me. I hope that Bruna is released soon. No one deserves to be detained so forcefully and baselessly. So, yeah, I mean, Caroline Leavitt might, in front of the cameras, say, oh, I support Trump and all that, but I would imagine behind the scenes she's fuming. Probably never thought something could hit her so close to home that Trump has done. What do you think it would take for her to turn on Trump? You know, I think it would have to take a lot, because she's probably the biggest ass kisser of a president I have ever seen. Okay, and Trump is surrounded by a lot of ass kissers, but she's very good at it. You know, she will compound on a lie that he says and make it sound like it's valid, you know, and it's like, this woman's out of her fucking mind. She's a practiced liar. Whoever raised her as a kid did a piss poor job at teaching them honesty, you know, and ethics, because she ain't got it. So I thought that was interesting about that. So now Trump is apparently having a huge problem here over a report that came out from the New York Times. A reporter named Katie Rogers published a piece about how Trump is doing fewer and fewer public events, is falling asleep in public, is less and less coherent when he is in public, and questions the implications of his ruminations on the afterlife and how he's not going to heaven. Well, I agree with him there. This, of course, did not sit well with Trump, who cannot stand anyone ever even implying that he is not the smartest, handsomest, healthiest, richest, and most popular man to have ever walked the planet. And he immediately blew his top on Truth Social in a hysterical tantrum in which he insulted the female reporter as being, quote, ugly inside and out, unquote, and trashed the New York Times as a, quote, cheap rag is truly an enemy of the people, unquote. Might as well have just posted, quote, I'm insecure and I need everyone to know about it, unquote. Hey, look, people are wondering. People are wondering, and you know why they're wondering more now? Is because people are sick of him. They're sick of him. They're now, and people are actually listening better now to what Trump says, and they're starting to hear the bullshit. They're starting to hear the bullshit where they didn't before because they were so blinded by, oh, we gotta have Trump and MAGA. Okay, now people are starting, more people, his approval's at what, 35, 36%? The lowest ever. People are starting to listen better now because more people hate him, and so they're really trying to put the bullshit filter on now. And they're finding out that much of what this guy says is not only lies, but outright ridiculous bullshit. Okay? And they're starting to see it now. They're starting to see it. And so now people are starting to wonder more, is this guy losing his fucking mind? You know, does he have dementia? Does he have Alzheimer's? Is he really, really making any sense to anybody out there? And the answer is, the more people you ask about it, the less clear the answer becomes. A lot of people will just flat out say, no, he's not sane. There's something mentally wrong with him. There's some people out there that are like, you know, but you're getting a lot of Republicans now, a lot of former MAGA supporters who have had it up to here with him. They're starting to see now that what they were being told by the Democrats last year was true. They didn't hear it because they thought Democrats were just trying to muddy up the waters and everything. No. Okay? That isn't always a goal in every fucking election, is for one side to, you know, smear the other person, even though Republicans do that a lot to the Democrats. Democrats, more often than not, will actually point out specifics about why they don't support, you know, Mr. Republican or Mrs. Republican, okay? They'll point out specifics. They just won't say, oh, the guy's a fascist or that, you know. They wait until there's evidence to prove that before they even would make that claim. Well, the Democrats have been saying, when they were making fun of Joe Biden, you know, especially in that last debate, oh, his mind is gone. But we were trying to say, if his mind is gone, so was Trump's, because much of what he was saying, even though he made it sound more coherent, was still as bizarre as, you know, as some of the things Biden was kind of saying, but kind of scattered. You know what I'm saying? So two people might have a problem with memory and dementia or something like that, but will exhibit the symptoms in different ways. But hey, Trump is not a young man either. Okay? He ain't a young man either. So, you know, it's very possible. And the fact that, you know, he's always going around telling people, oh, I passed this test and I passed. Why does he have to keep saying that? You know, nobody even asks him, you know, how did you do on your recent mental evaluation? No, he just throws it right out there, which tells me he didn't have it done, which tells me that he's interested in making people believe that he's fine, but he's not getting tested, you know. I don't think he is. He's not getting tested at all. He's just doing what others expect him to do, and I don't know why they still let him get in front of a camera, but at this point, I would think, you know, if they want to ever see a hope of his approval numbers going up, they would keep him as far away from the cameras and the press as possible, because if he's getting worse, these things that he says from here on out are only going to get more ridiculous, and more people are going to turn against him in the end. And it's infuriating other Republicans, because we got midterms coming up, and they don't want Trump coming to their state and saying, I support this man, especially if everybody hates him. They can't even have Republican town hall meetings because of the fact that so many people are fucking mad. So now they're doing it video conferencing, the town hall meetings. They're telling, these folks, don't go to the fucking town hall, just do it via the internet, because they're gonna, somebody might throw a fucking egg at them or some damn, you know what I'm saying? They get so mad. So it's really bizarre that, people would not consider that, after all this time and all the shit that he's done, that there isn't something wrong with him. And nobody's thinking that. What right now people are saying is, how bad is it? They know there's something wrong with him. They just want to know, how bad is it, and what stage is it in? Because we've all known somebody who had dementia. I had a grandfather, both my grandfathers had it. Okay, they both had dementia. I don't know if it was Alzheimer's or what, but they would be forgetful. Sometimes they wouldn't even know who I was. Okay, and that's happened. I know people, and you know people that have had it. Okay, and those people who knows people who've had it, or they themselves have it, are going to see the signs every time Trump opens his yap. Okay, they're going to see it. Now, I feel like we're running on autopilot here. I feel like the government's running on autopilot, because how can you expect Trump to do his job? Okay, responsibly. How do you expect him to do his job responsibly if he's in that condition? Somebody's got to be doing it for him. Vance, other members of his cabinet, okay? Do you think they really listen to Trump anymore themselves? I wonder. When he goes on these tirades and he bitches and he gets on the Truth Social or whatever they call it, does anybody even care in this administration what he says, or are they just all running the show in 50 different ways? I mean, each one doing their own thing. Because I feel like maybe that explains why there's been a lot of chaos inside the administration, is because nobody's listening to Trump and everybody's doing their own thing. And there's no accountability, there's no oversight, okay? And I don't see how you can run a country that way. It's certainly the result of what we're living with right now is not good. So I feel like, hey, somebody has got to put the brakes on this administration, because if we keep going like this in the next 3 years, I don't know what kind of country we're going to have left. We're looking at possible war in Venezuela. I mean, who in the hell gives a shit? It's just, you don't deal with drug cartels by invading countries that are also trying to stop drug. I mean, come on. And he's sitting here picking on Mexico again, trying to start something there. It's like this guy, it's like he's living in a different reality where he thinks he can do these things with impunity and just, let the chips fall where they may, and nothing's going to touch me, I don't know. I mean, maybe a lot of you people out there are feeling the same fucking way, but you can't run a country like that and expect its society to continue to back that up. Okay, eventually people are going to get tired of it, and that's what's happening right now. I told you this year we're going to see the decline of MAGA and Trump, and next year it's going to be all about how do we get rid of this fucker. Okay, that's where we're headed right now. The next phase is how do we get rid of this fucker. So that's what we should expect to see next year. Let's go to a commercial break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Today's news reminds me of a story from when I was a teenager. And I'm going to tell you guys that story and see if you could figure out what today's news story is that I'm going to talk about. When I was 16, I wanted to get my belly button pierced so bad. It was the early 2000s. All the cool girls had their belly button pierced, and I wanted one more than anything. Except my dad basically said, I will disown you if you ever get your belly button pierced. But I didn't care. So I organized a little trip with my friends to go down to the village, St. Mark's Place to be exact, where they didn't care if you were underage. They would pierce you, tattoo you. They didn't give a shit. And I was going to go get my piercing. Now I'm sitting in the living room with my dad getting ready to go. I'm putting my shoes on. And my mom comes in. And she goes, I hope you have fun, but I just want you to remember what your father said. Do not get your belly button pierced. And I lost my shit. I was like, you traitorous bitch. How dare you? How dare you say something like that to me? How dare you insinuate that I was doing all of this to go get my belly button pierced? Knowing damn well I had every intention that day of getting that piercing. Did you figure out the news story? Who else is giving Department of Defensive right now? Because you see, Donald Trump and the right-wing media and pundits are currently losing their minds because members of our Congress who were either former military or worked in intelligence came out and put out a little public service announcement for our current members of our military and intelligence.
The laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans.
And when I say the right is losing their shit over that video, Donald Trump is reposting things of calling them traitors, saying that they need to be hung. And I'm not gonna lie, you're kind of acting like I was when I wanted to get my belly button pierced. Because to me, when a bunch of Congress people are telling our military, you do not have to listen to illegal orders, and you're mad about that, that says you had every intention of giving them illegal orders. I'm just saying. And if you're wondering whether or not I went and got my belly button pierced that day, yes. Yes, I did. Anyways, bye.
Never mix salt with these two ingredients if you don't want your hose to be rock hard tonight. Every time you see an older man with a young woman, you can bet he's using the salt trick. In fact, I've been left unable to walk for more than 4 days because of it. This talk about women only wanting money is just an excuse from guys who can't perform in bed. What women really care about is whether a man can heat things up in the bedroom and keep everything working. Having worked in the adult industry for many years, I discovered this after watching a video by Emily, a friend and former adult film star. In the video, Emily reveals that every man has a little hidden button on his body. When activated, it can make even 80-year-old men stand tall and be ready to handle any young woman for 2 straight hours. Dr. Jack Jordan scientifically proved this, and the method works so well that it makes your body stay rock solid whenever you want. All you need is the salt recipe in the morning with a bit of warm water. It takes less than 15 seconds. Fun fact, this recipe was banned for over 40 years because it threatened the sales of the famous little blue pill in pharmacies. After the video about salt featuring the ex-actress went viral, I can now share it here. Just click the link in the description or the pinned comment to access everything you need to make this recipe. Watch the video alone because it includes some very steamy practical demonstrations. Jack shows exactly how to do it and the results it delivers instantly. Everything you can imagine happens right in front of the cameras with nothing censored. So grab your headphones, click the link below, and get ready for content so hot it might even make you want to join in yourself.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, everybody. You know, my girlfriend had come by here yesterday. Well, she had a doctor's appointment yesterday, so she came down here to sleep overnight here, so she could make her appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning here in town. So the night before she had to go to her appointment, she took a shower and she was doing her hair and everything, and then all of a sudden you hear this screech upstairs, and I'm like, what the hell went on? So when she was done upstairs, she come down and says, Jeff, you know something? You got the worst shower I've ever been in. The hot water, it lasted about 5 minutes and then it just cut out. And I'm like, I said, really? Because I said, I was up there, and I mean all this time I've been here, I've been using the shower, and the hot water seemed to always be running. But when she told me, she was up there, and I was thinking, something, she always takes long showers, okay? She could be in a shower for almost 20 minutes, okay? Especially, if she's doing her hair. She's got long hair. So I'm thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I said, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to wait a while first. And then I'm going to go upstairs and turn the faucet on, the hot faucet, and just sit there. So I went upstairs. I turned the hot water on, let the faucet run. About 10 minutes, I started to notice the temperature of the water getting cooler. I was like, yeah, you know what? The reason why I never noticed it is because I don't sit in the shower for like more than 10 minutes. I mean, I'm in there, I do what I got to do, and I'm out. But I mean, women take longer in the shower, I guess, because they got long, hair, and they're doing okay. And Melissa, she does a lot in the shower, so she's in there, she's running the water for a long time, and then all of a sudden the hot water quit. But still, it shouldn't go out like that. Not after 10 minutes of running the fucking hot water. So, last night, I called, well, not even call, I sent an email to the maintenance people, and I told them about the problem. This morning, I got a fucking call at 9 o'clock this morning saying, we will be there Monday to replace your water heater. I was like, son of a bitch. I mean, that's like the quickest response to any maintenance problem I ever got. So, yeah, Monday morning they're going to be here and they're going to give me a new hot water heater, okay? I was like, okay. Because they said that shouldn't be doing that, and there's probably blockage somewhere, or sediment, and they're just not going to fix it. They're just going to replace it. So that tells me that that's probably been down there a long time, So it doesn't look old, though. It looks, it's in good looking shape. I mean, so I don't know. I think maybe this apartment has been vacant for a long time and it just sat there, and maybe sediment built up in the side of the thing. I don't know, but yeah, they're gonna have to come and replace it. They're just not gonna fix it. But so yeah, I'm gonna get a new water heater there on Monday. So yeah. So we got some Thanksgiving by the numbers here. It says nearly 82 million Americans are expected to travel 50 miles or more over Thanksgiving weekend this year. About 73 million plan to hit the road by car, while close to 6 million will fly. Thanksgiving became a regularly observed national holiday after President Abraham Lincoln's 1863 proclamation establishing a day of thanks. Today, about 94% of Americans say they plan to celebrate, with around 87% serving turkey alongside classic sides like stuffing, mashed potatoes, and rolls. The average cost of a traditional Thanksgiving dinner for 10 is $55.18, or roughly $5.50 per person, marking the third consecutive year of price declines. Meat thermometers, cake pans, and measuring cups top the list of last-minute buys in 2024. For dessert, pumpkin pie reigns as the top pick. Millions are expected to tune into the 99th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade at 8:30 on NBC. And yeah, so I don't know what floats they're gonna have. So a lot of people have ham too for Thanksgiving. I don't know if you know that, but ham is like the second thing that people will have for Thanksgiving. And one year I remember we had that for Thanksgiving, and it was good too. Ham. Yeah, I mean, so either turkey or ham, both I like. But yeah, there's some families that will have that instead of turkey. And turkey is good. I like turkey sandwiches and stuff like that. It's good meat. It's healthier. It's leaner, and they tell you that it's got less fat. And so I like buying turkey slices for sandwiches and stuff like that. I get that. And I like sweet potatoes, and I like Brussels sprouts, spinach, broccoli, to have all that, and corn. I'll tell you who makes good corn on the cob is Chili's. If you ever go to Chili's, they have corn on the cob and they have seasoning that goes on it. That's the best. The best. I don't know. I don't know what the seasoning is, but it tastes great. So if you ever go to Chili's and you see the corn on the cob, buy it because it's good. You'll love it. You know. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, everybody has their own thing when it comes to Thanksgiving and what they put out on the table here. And so it's good that people get that chance to come together, to cook and to just mingle and to talk. And, you know, I feel like too much of the time, the rest of the year, we spend too much time pulling ourselves apart from one another, especially, you know, these days with political matters and stuff. But after this year, I can find that I could sense that there's going to be some strain bringing families together after this entire year of madness here we've had, and that's sad because, you know, there's no reason why we should allow our government to pull us apart, okay? But we've become so sensitive to political ideologies and thoughts that every political conversation these days seems to end in a fight. It's like we don't know how to discuss or debate, you know, civilly anymore. Even in texts, when people post things and they write stuff, a response always comes across as sarcastic, you know, rage bait. People just don't want to talk seriously about anything. And maybe that's part of the reason why we end up with such a lopsided government, is because we always drift towards, it seems we drift towards the people that are very controversial, okay? The ones that say things that everybody gets pissed at hearing. And we seem to follow those folks instead of the people who are, you know, telling us stuff that we want to hear instead of the stuff that makes us pissed. Okay, I feel like, you know, we got our fucking brains backwards, wired backwards, okay? When did we ever stop being hopeful anymore? When did we stop listening to hope and a brighter future? You know, the reason why JFK became such a popular president was because of that he spoke about a future, a positive future where we were going to accomplish great things. Nobody cares about that anymore, and that's like the American spirit, you know, that we strive to make our country better each and every day. And instead, we got too many people who want to keep stepping back from that and not taking the effort anymore to try. They've given up. They got lazy, or they got too, you know, cynical, you know, whether it's from their personal lives being so messed up, or the way they looked at our government as being so screwed up and needs fixing. People just threw their hands up and said, fuck it, you know, I don't care anymore, you know. But this country has gone through worse times, I believe, you know, especially when you think about World Wars I and II. We've gone through a lot of things, and we had plenty of reasons to give up then, but we didn't. We stuck with it. We worked the problem, and we come out the other side. Okay, we did. So, what happened to that? What happened to that? You know, I mean, look. Let me just take in my small example here what I went through this year. Okay, I didn't give up. I didn't. You know, even the Red Cross called me up and says, "Oh, you know, are you thinking about, you know, having negative thoughts or something?" I said, "No." I said, I'm not going to kill myself over this. I said, lots of people every day go through a fire and they come out the other side and they're living happily. And he laughed. I said, Jesus Christ. You know, it's like, no, I mean, people, you know, everybody goes through bad times. Everybody, okay? We all do. Nobody can have a stress-free life. You might have stress-free periods in life, but you always come across the fucking hurdle that you got to jump over. And you can either jump over it, or you can just sit in front of it and let the hurdle land on your head, okay? You can't do that, okay? In life, we're always going to be tested. Life is never easy for anybody. I had to tell this to somebody over at Texas Roadhouse today that works over there, okay? her boyfriend dumped her. She was feeling like shit. And when I was sitting here telling her, we all go through it, everybody. No one's immune to it, okay? And how we deal with it is how we grow from it. But if you don't move forward, you know, and work to get over it, you're weaker for it. The next thing that comes along, you won't be able to handle that either, you know? And I mean, yeah, because I mean, she's young, like 20, 22, I guess. Okay, so she's way younger than me. So, yeah, but I was telling her this, like, you know, a father telling a kid, you know, this is normal that, you know, we all get dumped. Okay, very few people ever find the one and stay. Okay, there's always a problem, and even after you find that one, there's gonna be trouble along the line. You're both gonna be confronted with problems, either with outside your relationship or within the relationship. There's always going to be hurdles you're going to have to jump. You know, it shapes who we become at the end. Okay, but I told her, I said, it's okay to be sad and everything like that, but you know, try to focus on the good things that are still your friends, and you know, and that, okay, and instead of, you know, she's got a lot of friends, so yeah, hang around with them, okay, lean on them. You know, let them know. Don't hold back. Just let them know, okay? A good friend will be interested in helping you out, you know? And, you know, I'm like that by nature. I think I get that from my mother. I'm always a helper, you know, always trying. When somebody says they're going through tough times, I want to do something, you know, even little, something to help. And I think that's the American spirit. That's what we should be like, all of us, if we're Americans, is that we're the people that when you need some hope, come to us. We'll give you hope, because we go through shit too, and we work together to get out of it. And that's the kind of America we need, okay? Because that's the kind of America that was created to begin with, and why over those decades and centuries, whatever, we created programs for people to help them when they're, you know, when they fall on hard times, okay, because people in those days couldn't just sit idly by and watch somebody suffer and sink, okay? They wanted to get up and help, because they had that spirit of wanting to be good to other people. That's more Christian than anything you're going to hear today from people like Marjorie Taylor Greene or anything like that, okay? I think if you want to consider yourself a Christian country, the first step you're going to have to take is to say, I want to help somebody today. Okay, I want to do my part, or whatever part I can play to help somebody today. You know, and when you start to do that and you do it more and more often, you'll find it comes easier to do. You know, I never stop. I'm always helpful. You know, I try to do what I can. And, you know, even in small ways. Sometimes it's, you know, I donate money to this or that, or I help somebody, you know, if they fall or whatever. I'm right there, you know. I don't know. It's just instinct, I guess. You know, I feel like that's from my mother, because my mother was that way. She's helping everybody all the fucking time. She's helping this one, helping that one. She did all kinds of things for people. So, I got that. I guess I got that from her. But that's the kind of America that I like, and that's the kind of America we ought to try to go back to. You know, because if we get to that point again, you're going to find that things down the road are going to look simpler. They're going to look easier to handle. You know, you'll start listening to people better. We might even be able to weed out the bad apples in our government, you know, better by listening to what they say, because a lot of things that Trump says is not coming from a mouth of a person that's helpful, but someone who is trying to take all the time, take from you. He's a con man. That's not being helpful, is it? Okay? This is a man who's so wealthy, you know, he could pay off people's debts around this country and still have fucking money enough to live lavish lifestyle. Somebody like me, as wealthy as him, do you think I wouldn't try to help somebody that's... You're goddamn right I would. What the hell purpose do I need to have billions of fucking dollars? There's no way in life I could ever spend all that. So why not give some of that away? Give it to people that need it. That's what I say. Okay? There's no reason why I should have to sit on all that fucking money. Okay? I don't need 15 homes. I don't need 30 cars. I don't need a 2 or 3 private jet. I don't need that. Okay? But see, a guy like Trump, no, the money that's his is going to stay his. And if somebody sees people starving, can't do anything to help you. Really? Driving around in a fucking limo, I can't do anything to help you. No, that's not American. Okay, that's just plain old fucking sin. That's what that is. That's just plain old greed controlling that guy's mind. And the older he gets, the less likely he's ever going to change. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's sad. It's sad. Thanksgiving is a holiday that man will never really understand or appreciate, because he's never had to witness, you know, people who don't have it. Okay? And he never had to care about people who can't have it. So it would be nice to see, you know, more people who have so much try to help for those who have so little. What was it? Leonard Nimoy had said, you know, if everybody shared everything, we'd have a lot more than we have, or something along those lines. You know, the more you share, the more you have. And he's right, because what he's basically saying is, let's spread the wealth. You know, let's just spread it around. You know, you got if you got a ton of money, spread it around. Let everybody have some of it. You know, Christ, I mean, you don't need it all. You know, I mean, with the billionaires that we have, those billionaires could really, just you know, a little bit, could bring worry away for so many Americans. So many. Think about that. The worries that a lot. You know, Jesus, just was one guy who had all this fucking money. Like, what's his name there? Can't think of it. You know, the Nazi asshole there that was with Trump. Somebody like that, you know, hey, he could help all kinds of people with the money he's got. Okay? And, shit. I mean, I can't imagine how somebody just don't see that. Instead, they want to bitch about how much they got to pay in taxes. And it's like, well, geez, if there's one thing you could do to help the country is to pay your taxes, but he don't want to do that. You know, Christ. You know, the thing, you know, your government doesn't run on dirt, okay? It's got to have money. People don't work for nothing, okay? When people have to come to work to do their job for the government, they expect to be paid to do it. Wouldn't you? So where does that money have to come from? The government. Where does the government get its money? Through the taxes that we pay. All right? Now, you can debate on how much they deserve to get, okay? But they're not going to work for free. And they're certainly not going to work below minimum wage. You know, these people go to school for these jobs, okay? And these are white-collar jobs, a lot of them, so they deserve to get, you know, okay? So, you know, you can't expect people not to work and for nothing. Okay, you can't. It's just ridiculous. And yet we don't realize, a lot of us, just how much we depend on the government to provide us with services. You know, we think that, I don't think we bother to think at all. You know, when a fire truck goes by, you know, who's paying them, you know, and nobody thinks. Okay, policemen, post office, okay, your IRS, Social Security offices, all of. Hey, who's paying these guys, right? You ever stop and think about that? No, you just, when you find out how much they make, you think, oh, they don't deserve that, let's cut their way. You know, no, this is not what you do, okay? You can't cut their wages and then bitch that you're not getting enough, okay? If you're not getting enough money for your job, then you should be, we need to have more money, right? That's what the unions were there for. Well, you know, these government workers, a lot of them, you know, they're working for wages that really aren't that high, okay? They haven't kept up with inflation any more than your job, okay? So it's really like, you know, everybody is like, you know, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for pay increases, and instead everybody's screaming, cut jobs, cut wages, at a time when we need more money to live in this country because the cost of living is through the fucking roof. Okay? So this is where, you know, you have, like I said before, about the anxiety with people talking politics and stuff like that, is because when people start to analyze their life under that microscope, it just infuriates them. It angers them. They get emotional. Okay, and that's why I say we spend way too much time fighting with each other over these things instead of discussing these things in a calm fashion, in a professional fashion. And what we ought to do is, instead of complaining about what's wrong, we ought to think about what we can do to make it right. Let's talk about what steps do we need to take to correct this problem. What do we got to do? Okay, that's where progress begins. You know, you're not going to get there through bitching about, oh, this, you know, fucking God. You're just venting. Nobody wants to hear that all day long. But if you come up with an idea or something like that, people listen. Okay, that's the kind of people that we need to keep voting for. Okay, Trump was just a bitcher. That's all he did. Oh, America's the worst. It's shit. It's this and that. Yeah, everybody's saying that, you know, and they all think, oh, we connect because we all agree America's shit. Well, what did he say that's actually going to help improve it? Only Kamala Harris was talking about steps we can take to improve America. And nobody wanted to hear that except the Democrats, of course, that support her. But MAGA certainly didn't want to hear it because that's not negative. They just wanted to hear her vent. And she wasn't venting. She was coming up with ideas, solutions. That's the kind of person you want leading a country. Okay? That's what you want. I don't care if she's female or black. That doesn't matter a fuck all to me. A brain is a brain. Intelligence has no color. Okay? You need to shut that, you know, go blind, okay? If you're blind, then you could probably get over these prejudices and stuff, okay? But forget this shit, this misogyny and stuff. That's yesterday. We're a mature society. We ought to be able to advance forward without that crap clinging to our ass all the time, okay? So we need to put that away. If you want good, honest answers and solutions, then it shouldn't matter in what pair of pants or what skirt they come in, okay? A good idea is a good idea, and people need to weigh that equally and honestly, okay? And not judge it from whose mouth it came out of. So, anyway, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving tomorrow, okay? And I mean that, okay? Because I think that a lot of us, we've gone through a lot of hell this year, and I think we need to take tomorrow and try to make it something decent and fun, you know, and try to maybe not talk about politics, but just talk about, you know, things that you're doing, hobbies, whatever, something that you did or something funny. You know, just try to be, you know, civil if you can. Okay, try it. Just practice being civil for how many hours you're there. Okay, and I know for a lot of people traveling by air is probably going to be a pain in the ass, but just understand patience. You know, you got a cell phone, you can play games on it, you can watch movies on it while you're waiting. Okay, just stay hydrated. Don't get drunk, but, you know, stay hydrated. Make sure you eat, so that way you don't feel like you're miserable. Okay, and just try to enjoy, you know, when you get there. You know. So that's about it. So subscribe, comment, share, and keep your ears open for health-related issues. And like I said, have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. and I'll talk to you all later. Take care.